This is Call of Duty Vanguard. We're here on Xbox Series X taking a look at this alternate history World War II entry in the Call of Duty series. If you're into Modern Warfare 2019, this is basically around the exact same sort of game in terms of the style and the feel of the game itself, but with a little bit more advanced aesthetics in regards to the setting and the quality of the materials within the world. And also on top of that, the World War II style that is present compared to, obviously, Modern Warfare 2019. So what we're getting here on Series X are, well, a number of different options. Whoa, that guy went right off the train. And it's going to take a bit to go over everything. So first off, we're starting with the campaign, then we're going to show off the multiplayer, and then we're going to show off the zombies. To talk about all three different areas of the game, while also talking about a bit of them, while we're going through each particular area. So with this particular entry, we get a campaign that follows these operator characters that are present both in here and also in the multiplayer. So what are we getting on the Series X? We're getting two options. We're getting a 4K 60 and we're getting a 120 Hz, which runs at like 1600 p. Both of them are dynamic resolution scaling. There's HDR support for everything, which you can calibrate. There's also a FOV option that didn't seem to pop up when I was doing the video here, but it is present under color customization, where you can go from 80 all the way up to 120 if you'd like, with an X button option to basically make ADS independent or affected for adjustments. Your visuals can look better with the on-demand texture streaming options, so that will make the game look better, but it will take, online download. You can limit that. You can also do different types of how much you want to allocate for your texture caching. So that's kind of cool. Then there's the Fidelity FX, and we're just going to show a quick photo so you kind of see it. The idea of it is that it's supposed to adjust how sharp the textures are using the Fidelity FX technology in order to kind of improve things using some AI, type learning, which is kind of interesting. So anyways, we're going to continue playing here. We're starting with the 4K 60, 120 Hz more for the multiplayer element of play. So you'll see that in action when we go to do it. So yeah, we've got some really neat visual options that are present here. And it can seem a little overwhelming. There's also spatial sound support, there's Dolby Atmos support, there's mouse and keyboard support, there is regular controller support. Obviously being optimized for next gen. Lots of stuff going on. It's just stacked with features. We've got cross-platform play. We've got cross-play between the different platforms using the Activision account. Like I said, there's just a ton going on in this one. But yeah, let's dive into talking about a little bit of what the game has to offer. So the campaign here is a little bit different from other ones being like alt history, and that basically is just in the sense that, hey, they want to use some characters and stuff in a random way that isn't necessarily historic. You do get to visit a number of historical locations with characters that I guess you could kinda say are based on different regions. The idea there is that these are a group of individuals that kind of play by their own rules. There's a lot of, hey, we don't deal with the issues that other people kind of... It's a little bit revisionist history to a degree, I guess you could say. But it's like, hey, we don't listen to leadership. We've got our own attitude. We do things our own way in all the different scenarios. And then they come together to be this... I don't want to say undercover group, because they're not really at all undercover. They run head first off trains and into the enemy and whatnot. But, they are a group that is basically attempting to be a unique group of individuals that have come together to battle against the forces of, the bad Germans, And you can actually see the classic symbols in this game. In case you were wondering, yeah, those are all present, the actual symbols, but only in the campaign, not in the multiplayer, which is kind of fascinating. And a little bit weird, quite honestly. So the gist of the story is we've got this interesting fast train sequence that kind of kick things off, and then it's a bit of an interview type thing where you get to, or interview interrogation thing, where you get to see the stories for each of the individual characters and what happens to them over the course of the war. You get something where you get to fly planes. Oh, come on. Fell off the side of the thing again. You get to fly planes in the Midway. So you actually get to be in a plane, you get to fly over and stuff like that. I think we're actually going to show off a different campaign level though. So yeah, the Battle of the Midway, you get to go to Stalingrad, you get to see Lady Nightingale, which is actually the strongest character, and a first for the Call of Duty series, in that she is a parkour wizard. That's right, she can climb and hide and slide around. Anyways, so you get to see these different perspectives, like I said. Midway, Stalingrad, Battle of Normandy, kind of behind the scenes in a different perspective than usual that you would, kind of expect from a Call of Duty game. So that's something that's present there. And, yeah, for the most part, I'd say the campaign is good. It's beautiful. The visuals are intense. It's very visceral. It's got some really strong points to it, but it's also got some points that are a little bit somewhat silly in regards to the style. The story was to me predictable the moment I started playing. I instantly knew exactly what the story was going to be. It is about just under 5 hours long, at least for me on normal. There are different difficulty options that you can choose, and it's just kind of a very linear, straightforward sort of story where you get to see these. It's like a best of kind of World War action kind of game. There's also like an Australian thing, and again, it's all about not listening to the rules, doing your own thing, and standing up to the people that kind of lead you, as odd as that is in a war scenario, but that's kind of the gist of how that one is set up and going. But yeah, it's kind of unique in that regard, in that it tells a different story about like these different individuals from different countries and locations that have come together to fight in this war. It does have some, more charming type calmer moments. They try to do something a little bit more cinematic with it in regards to like the visuals and the cutscenes. And you will have moments that are clearly like actual cutscenes, and they kind of transition mostly smoothly into regular gameplay to the point I don't think most people will notice the difference, which is kind of unique. And again, it's kind of, intriguing the direction they went with for the different characters. You're either going to like that style or you're not. I think it was kind of interesting, and in general, I'd say it was a pretty, great campaign. It was enjoyable. It had some unique missions to it, but again, I find some spots of it to be a little silly, a little out there, but, they definitely did aim to really push the visual quality of, like, character models and the quality of the environment, which is kind of funny because you get, like, super, super high quality, like, texturing for some areas, and then other areas, it's, like, super low weird things. Like, there was a tree where it was just, like, kind of 2D leaves, and then you look at the character models, and it's like this super insane high quality thing, and you're like, what is going on there? So you do get quite a variety in that sense. There are like a little bit of bugs here or there. I did notice some little dips in regards to the fluidity. Obviously, playing through the campaign, I thought it was initially just something because I had something downloading in the backdrop, but then I went and, redid some segments, and I did notice some drops here or there. So keep that in mind, but the visual quality is very, very good. The drops seem very minimal during segments where it's kind of like almost loading. And watch out for dogs. Dogs are insta-killing monsters in this game for some reason. It is weird. Like, seriously, the dogs are absolutely savage. They will hit you once on any difficulty, and they will mess you up. Those dogs are crazy. Absolutely insanely crazy. I was like, what is going on with these doggos here? They are like nightmare fuel. Seriously, they one hit you and you die, and then they just walk away, the dogs. They're just like, okay, cool, he's dead, and they just run away. Sorry, it's a weird thing, but it was even weirder playing the game, being like, wow, those dogs are going absolutely insane against me. But yeah, standout moments, intense capturing of the different theaters of war. It can be very, very violent, very gory, very intensive. And you're going to probably be used to it if you've played other Call of Duty games. I think they do try to do some new things with some of the story structuring, but it very much feels similar to what's come before it, just with that sort of quirky, hey, let's introduce and push these operators, because that's part of the multiplayer microtransaction systems that are present these days. There's not that in the single player, but you get what I mean, right? That they're trying to make this all feel like one kind of cohesive experience in that regard. So the campaign in general was, great. I'd say it was a great campaign. It was what I expected from this. It had some moments that were really, really intense. I think it's got some strong points here or there, but some weaker ones in other spots. And it puts together what is a generally solid experience. This is the multiplayer component. Currently, we're in the 4K 60 mode, in case you're wondering, and we will do a switch over to the 120Hz mode which I feel is the best way to experience the multiplayer action of this year's release. So this one is quite a bit different in regards to the style of play, but yet it is very much, again, similar to Modern Warfare 2019. Please get out of my way. So yeah, gameplay-wise, it's going to feel very similar in regards to the weapons, the way you do your classes, your loadouts. The operators are back. You unlock the initial operators by doing certain things in the multiplayer. You level up, you customize your different classes, you get gun skins, you get other things. There's the battle pass. You can pay for the battle passes. They do new ones with seasonal updates that will add free post-launch content. But at launch, there's actually a healthy amount of multiplayer content present here. I think there was something like 16 regular maps that all looked pretty decent and seemed to play well. I didn't have any maps that particularly stuck out to me as something I didn't really like. I did give them all a whirl to give them a try to make sure, you know, hey, do I like this one? How does this one feel? So, you know, I think there is a good variety there in regards to the different maps that are present and the different offerings in the theaters of war that they present. Everything from, like, you know, more sand-based to, say, like a tropical land to, say, something like a Tuscan level, or, you know, kind of more heavy Berlin-inspired areas. I'm trying to give just, you know, more non-specific descriptions of the different environments. Some in the snow, you know, stuff like that. They give just a range across the different options. Some more indoors, some more outdoors. It's quite neat. So this one also is a little bit different due to the combat pacing that's present. So combat pacing will decide how many players are actually on a level at a time. And we're going to quickly just switch to the 120 Hz mode, because that feels much more fluid for gameplay. Now keep in mind, YouTube can't support 120, I can't record at 120, so hopefully you're getting like a bit of a, I don't know, super sampled high frame rate. We'll just say that for now. But yeah, it does feel insanely fluid. It seems to look really good too. You know, I haven't noticed that there's necessarily a huge quality dip. It does still look pretty nice. And in general, I'd say that this, if you have the option to do 120 Hz, is probably the way to go. So as you might have noticed, like I was mentioning, there's different levels of intensity. So this is the Blitz. This is all-out war. This is the most players they can squeeze onto every single map. There's 3 different tiers, at least at the current point in time, that will determine how many people you're going up against when you're playing. So it's just like more bigger intensity options. Lots of people, lots of combat, very high, you know, kind of sensory overload almost, I want to say, in regards to just having to react to the constant quality of enemies that are fighting you. Quantity of enemies, there we go. There's just a lot going on, and it's pretty intense. You know, the traditional game modes also return. You've got your deathmatch, you've got your, you know, domination, you've got hardpoint. There's this new mode called Patrol, which is like if you played Doom 2016, it's basically from there, where you've got a moving control point that you need to capture and like kind of hold as it moves around the map, which is neat. There's also Champions Hill, which is like a round-based, smaller quantity of players per team, like, you know, 2s, singles, stuff like that, maybe 3s, depending. They're going to switch things up over time, right? Like, people are going to come, or game modes are going to come, game modes going to go, they're going to get dropped and picked up. And anyways, Champions Hill, that's currently like your options, is more small player base, like large quantity of players in a match, but you're doing like facing off in 1v1, 2v2 and stuff. I'm just describing it because it's like the new mode that they're testing out. I personally hate it. I don't like it at all. It's not something I'll be playing, but it is something that is present within the game and new. But other than that, it's very much your typical multiplayer experience. You've got, you know, a range of different maps that you can play on, a really healthy selection of maps at launch. I'm very happy with the options that are present in regards to how many maps are present in the multiplayer. I think that's fantastic. A good selection of game modes. I would have liked something a little bit more crazier for something game mode wise. They play it very safe. There's new options in regards to mechanics in the game, if you haven't noticed as well, in regards to like mounting or kind of doing like blind firing and stuff. So I think that's a nice little tactical thing. The door smashing returns, which I quite liked. I was kind of hoping for a spot to show up where I could do this as well, but there is a neat little sense of destruction in the game too, and you see this in all the different modes. You might find like a door that's blockaded, or like, you know, you can smash through the doors, but you might find, like, say a window has some panels, wooden panels on it. You can sit there and you can shoot through the panels, you can smash the panels. It's not like Rainbow Six Siege, but you know what I mean? You get to have a little bit of destruction to aspects of the environment, which I think is, you know, pretty cool. It's just a little dynamic. It alters the combat a little bit in cool ways. I quite like that that's present. I think it offers something, you know, sort of new in regards to how we interact and battle with the game and how we battle others, because we're able to use, you know, these different spots to kind of shoot through. It's quite a cool touch in my opinion. I quite like that. But other than that, you know, it's your typical leveling up, battling, taking positions, doing team deathmatch, facing off against others, leveling, doing the battle pass, if that's your sort of thing as well, right? So there's free and premium battle pass options too, right? Like in regards to how you progress through it. But yeah, it's very much similar Call of Duty to the ones we've had previously when it comes to the multiplayer. I personally enjoy this a lot more than I enjoyed Cold War. I'm very happy to be on this one for the next year. We'll have to see how, you know, long-term content and everything goes, but I'm quite happy with the launch selection here. I guess the biggest thing you could say is that it mostly plays it safe in regards to, you know, being similar to what we played in the past. If you're coming from 2019 Modern Warfare, you're going to feel right at home gameplay-wise. It feels very similar to that kind of structuring for combat and the style of play that's present. But yeah, I hope that kind of covered all the multiplayer. There's, you know, there's a lot of stuff. There's like perks, there's clans you can join for XP boosts and, you know, stuff like that. There's the different modes, there's the different quick play settings. They'll do hoppers for new, you know, random modes that come in throughout the year, and we just have very frantic, intense combat that, you know, for me feels pretty good. It feels fun, it feels engaging, and I just like what they've put together for this one's multiplayer this year. I think it's actually really cool and something that excites me going into the future for, you know, more Call of Duty experiences as they continue to update and grow this game with the free post-launch maps and stuff that come out over the different Battle Pass seasons. So this is the zombie mode. This is Dur and Fang. We've removed rounds. You go to different areas in order to kind of complete these different trials. It's got this one basic map here. You do your votes, and then you go off into different areas. When you come back, the zombies become a little bit stronger, and then you can keep playing, or you can eventually just leave. It is a complete dud. I don't find that there's any replayability here. I don't like this. I don't enjoy the zombies mode. It feels like one of the most half-assed efforts I've ever seen for zombies in a Call of Duty game. It really just is pointless. You know, it's got the staples. You got your Pack-a-Punch, where you can upgrade your weapons for cost. It's got, well, basically you can sacrifice things for special abilities. You got your mystery box where you can get points. And again, you just travel to the different areas. You do a different mission thing. Hey, you know, collect so many of these tablets, or, you know, kill so much to this thing, I guess, to get this stuff. And wow, it is just absolutely insanely bland, disappointing, and I think a terrible waste of the inclusion. They shouldn't have even bothered with it, to be honest. Like, this is just to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. I really do not like this zombies mode. We are in the 4K 60 mode as well, if you're wondering. We're just trying to get our team to agree on going literally anywhere at this point, which is not happening. But you just go to these spots, it does a travel thingy, and then you shoot some zombies, and then you leave. That's it. There's no heart to it. There's no intrigue. There's these random guys spewing out information as you're doing stuff. You can join in progress. It's just boring. It completely is such a removal from any zombies content that has come before it that I say, just pretend it's not even there. And there's only one map. And this takes forever too, this like tunnel of whatever to get to places. Anyways, there's one level. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's one map. That's all you get. And it just sends you to different multiplayer levels. And part of Shinonuma for some reason? I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand the point of it. I don't feel that it adds really any value to the package. I'm sure they'll add like a map or two here or there, but wow, what an absolute waste of space. I actually wish that you could uninstall this portion of the game. It probably wouldn't make much of a difference considering it just uses existing content, but to say I'm disappointed would be a bit of an understatement. This game mode is just worthless. Seriously, just skip it and save your time. If you like zombies, go play another Call of Duty game. There's so many better zombie modes out there that offer a whole lot more content for you to enjoy. So for Vanguard, I think what we have is actually a pretty great Call of Duty offering. It plays it safe in regards to the gameplay and the mechanics that are present here. It's going to feel very much like Modern Warfare 2019, but with a World War II style to it, which I think is fine. I actually really like how this one plays. I like how it handles. The campaign is great. It's not necessarily amazing. It's not mind-blowing, but it's got some really intense visceral action, a bunch of different scenes, a decent length that, again, is similar to other Call of Duty games from the past. It's about what's expected. And it tries to do some new things with it. Some of the story elements are very predictable, and I'm not necessarily huge on the different operator elements at play with that one, but it was still a very fine story that I found to be an enjoyable experience, to be a fine offering gameplay-wise. Something you can easily dive into and have a good time, and then of course be done with it afterwards. That's generally what the campaigns are for the games, right? Some memorable moments here or there, and otherwise you go on with your lives and you talk about it every once in a while. I thought the midway thing was kind of cool, though brief, and that was a lot of different segments, right? Where it's just like, hey, you do a flying thing, or hey, you're, doing like a sequence around tanks and stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, did it, move on to the next scene where you're doing some combat. There was seemingly a lot more stealth-oriented sequences, which I thought were a bit odd, just in regards to how many they were, but they also give you the choice, hey, go in, shoot, or A, kind of be stealthy. The zombies mode is a complete dud in the game. It's just pointless. I'm sorry, I don't know if people liked it or whatnot, but there's like zero replay value in that to me, and I really didn't care for it at all. I probably won't touch it again, even if they add new content to it. I'm just so kind of moved on from it, which is funny because zombies used to be one of my favorite modes in the Call of Duty games, especially like the Black Ops series. I loved zombies, so it's just not what it was. The multiplayer feels fast-paced, it feels action-packed. I like the different maps, I like the setup they've got going for it. I like the different, kind of biomes that are present. I like that you have all these different ways to level up. I like the destruction elements. I really enjoy the multiplayer. I think they absolutely nailed it in regards to the style of play and how it handles. So anyways, Call of Duty Vanguard, generally a great game, not necessarily a perfect Call of Duty experience, but a good one that offers quite a bit of content, a lot of different ways to experience it, and it is, well, this year's release. We'll have to wait and see how the content sort of grows over time, but generally I enjoyed it, and I found it to be a rewarding time with a lot of different content where it's got chunky multiplayer, not good zombies, and a solid campaign that you can work through with the group, well, by yourself, but with the group of operators that are present. Anyways, that is Call of Duty Vanguard.